They booked the nicest hotels on the 59th floor with the big wide windows with the suicide doors.
I went on a Friday.
Oh, you went on a Friday.
And I was gonna go.
This is really how it's slow going through right through downtown here. Hastings.
Why is that?
It's too much traffic down here. It's right down. I think there might be a couple companies, small companies that will cut them up, but they're really having a problem with it. And it's amazing how many birds are killed with it.
This is what that Sam gave you.
Is that those travel bags.
And that worked?
I got it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you later. Like these are like, you know, like it's a distressed, and it gets a really cool hand, but it's a, you know, it's a wax finish.
Yeah.
So then it's like we can wax it, we can oil it. So then now, like this is, you get the same kind of thing, not as intense, and you can rub these back if it wasn't so dry. When we first got these like 4 months ago, it was, you know, very nice and the hand was a little bit oilier. Now it's dried out just the time of year. This is Noah who picked the colors for the Reno.
Hi.
That we
Nice
did.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What happens is our leather goes from being a cow in St. Paul to the bluing facility. So that's where all the hair is removed in St. Paul. So that's 45 minutes from here. And then it comes here, down there, in a blue form. So it's like it's chromed blue. So it maintains and holds its longevity. It doesn't get grain damage. It doesn't manipulate from this point. And then they start coloring it. So that's when they start actually making it the first levels of color, and where they also implement waterproofing. That all happens down there. It comes up here to be finished. So this is, we call that like the cake, and this is the frosting.
Nice.
Like this is like where all the pretty stuff happens. Domestic customer and international customers. So we have a couple facilities that make Red Wing shoe workwear. That happens in Plant 2, which is a mile away, and then we also manufacture a little bit overseas as well. So it's a nice little building.
Wow, this place is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go down here.
All right.
Perfect time. This is when all the coloring happens, the printing happens, and some staining techniques. So it looks like they're just about to get fired up. Let's see what time it is. Yep. And now you see how it starts spraying.
And what is it spraying on there?
So it's just it's the levels of staining.
Okay.
Or finish. So it's like that leather came through. It's already been through one time, probably, and this is the second round. So when it first came up here, it would be like a muted gray, and now they've added a level that has a little bit of black dye into it, and then also potentially some luster. So the undercoat is gonna make that really dark, and then the wax is gonna give it the rub back finish on the top.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we do. It's super cool with the really light leathers, and then you do a little level of wax over it because it's like a significant difference. But it's got a really coppery, this color is on the bottom, and then it gets covered with a really beautiful amber. This is a work boot leather. Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool picture. Mother's Day. We have incredibly high standards at SB Foot. And so what we have here is still really, really good leather. And we're boot leather people. That's what we make leather for first. It's always boot leather, which are large cuts.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff would be really good for makers and people that make smaller items because you can still cut around some of the bad parts. But as far as a boot maker, like you need at least 4 feet of leather that all has to be like very visible. The color has to match, you know, between the sides, so there can't be any variance within the side. So it is, our level of quality is incredibly high, and we're very proud of it. Most of our leather is like the same front and back, but this is a very cool concept that it's not struck through, so when it gets made into footwear, this is actually visible. You see the line, and then the inside of the boot has a cool flesh color.
Yeah.
So this is a heritage leather that goes into a really cool iron. I think it's a iron. So we have our own world-class lab that tests leather and footwear. This is how we test if something's waterproof. So you see how there's water sitting in here. What they will do is they'll put a piece of leather right in here, and then it flexes. In order for it to pass, for it to be waterproof, it has to flex. What are you testing for on this machine?
The list is great, but specifically what I'll be doing here is I'll be taking the midsole off of that outsole for
like peeling it apart. That's what this is trying to show, like how much strength it takes to peel it apart.
Yeah.
They're flexing, so it's a flex test on a sole material. It looks like to see how many flexes it takes before it will crack. So they'll do things where they test based upon like temperature or use. So like if you're in a very cold climate, like was it going to be less flexes before it cracks versus more? That's how you test it. It can withstand electricity. So that boot is loaded with like little metal BBs. When they drop that chain in there, and then it shocks it. Within this is a steel toe. They load it with these little clay thingies. There's technical terms that I don't know. They'll put it in this machine here, and it'll sit down there, and then they raise this giant weight depending on how much, thousands of pounds, and then they drop it from different heights. We say, like, if you ask for your leather to be to this level of waterproof, fire resistant, or whatever, we'll ensure that it actually is before it leaves here.
Totally.